In this episode, you'll discover why powerful men need periods of complete isolation and how your hermit phase prepares you for your greatest work. Welcome to Energy Alignment for Entrepreneurs, the podcast helping entrepreneurs be free from anxiety, stress, and tension through balancing emotions and consciousness expansion. 3 things you'll learn today. Number 1, why the most transformative periods of your life happen alone. Number 2, how to recognize if you're in a hermit phase versus avoiding life. And number 3, the integration, knowing when to withdraw and when to re-engage. This is a smooth topic. It's going to be a powerful episode. Now, point number 1, the most transformative periods of your life will happen alone. Let's kind of make the scene simple and clear here, where it's maybe not all of the external results that come in this period when you're alone. But what's funny about the external results is you first need to be the person, and then you get the results. Now, everyone has different paths, so some people may get things and then be possessed by what they got, and the isolation journey will happen after material results. But for a lot of people, it's the other way around, and all shapes and sizes in between. But ultimately, the essence is when you're in solitude, when you're through the point of being lonely, right? You're not in this victim or pity or me or distraction, numb, run. You're in this recognizing phase of, man, I won't have this space, this time forever. So I'm going to make the most of it. And when you're alone and you bring your attention inward, you learn about yourself. And that really is hard to get started with when out in the world, busy in public, always doing, always moving. So you get thrusted into these tough phases. They're very tough at the introduction and the early parts of the phase. But in these periods when you're alone, maybe whatever it is, a breakup, a walking away from a friend group, a new period of life, you move, you travel, you're nomadic, whatever. The fundamental aspect is that there's going to be these phases that are heavy. With the heaviness, with the time, with you being with you, there's an opportunity to learn. A big, giant, powerful space that you have to face yourself through. You have to look. It's going to be very like the unknown. It'll be filled with uncertainty. But you'll start to question yourself. You'll start to change your lifestyle habits. You'll write. You'll journal. You'll do things you like, write about gratitude. You'll work through your consciousness because there's not much else to do. I mean, you could play video games. You could waste time. You could just go out and about. I'm not saying that stuff's bad. I'm saying that there needs to be a balance between the inward work and the expansion of your person. But they both go hand in hand together. If you do too much of anything, it's not a good thing, basically, is what I'm communicating. If you are striving so hard for spiritual development, forcing yourself to meditate how many hours a day, that's not going to guarantee you any form of change in consciousness. Sometimes you just have to work. You have to go through life. You have to let things happen naturally. But when you're alone in these phases, there's a juice, there's a potency, there's a moment, really, where you start to see something is changing and you don't even necessarily know how to put it into words. You don't know exactly what's happening, nor why, but you can feel something's changing. That is monumental. And let yourself be guided by it. How do you do that? You cover your fundamentals so you don't go insane. because in this transformative phase, you're going to be having to basically walk into the darkness, go back to a place of certainty, walk further into the darkness, go back to a place of certainty, and walk further into, and keep repeating that cycle until the unknown isn't something which you fear. So basically, if you look at the essence of space itself, you have territory which is mapped, and you have territory which is unmapped. Now, the unmapped territory isn't bad. It's just like, hey, if you always take the same route to work every day, you take the same route. And then there's other routes that could bring you to work, but you don't take those, right? Unmapped. So, same thing with when you're in your solitude. You are basically almost forced by God, by the universe, by yourself to go and map new things. Because what are you going to do, right? You're either going to curl up into a small ball and be a coward and not face yourself, not work to improve, not admit your wrongs, or you do those things. And you really, this is how your life gets good, is you have the voluntary courage to look at the hard things. It's so funny and paradoxical. Like the ego, identity, mind, I, me thought will trick you into the lie that taking the easy path, living and avoiding, and it'll trick you into a quote unquote easy life, which is actually the hardest life. And the hardest life on the cover, doing the work is actually the easiest life. Now, we're playing with words right now. Don't take this all too literally. The point really is, okay, you get thrust into a phase. What are you going to do? Are you going to curl up? Are you going to face yourself? Because if you face yourself, I'm telling you from the bottom of my heart, but you don't have to believe me. I'm saying go do it. Go do it. Because the only way you're ever going to know if these words are true is if they're true. And that means they have to be true for you in your direct experience. That's the only truth there really is. Words are words. Ultimately, you juice the absolute fuck out of this phase. And this means that you listen to your breath. You slow down. You reflect. You're grateful. You're kind. You're caring. Even if you don't have all the money in the world, you give gifts. You buy flowers. Maybe you're affectionate. You are really appreciative of everything that people do for you. You start working on your reciprocity. You start listening, really listening, not always giving advice. All of these little things. Then you cover your nutrition. You cover your health. Maybe you read a few books. You start thinking about, man, is there a way? Do I have any creative energy? How could I use my creative energy? Maybe you're deep into using your creative energy. You keep doing that. You get fresh air, you work out, you do all the fundamentals, right? You're aware of when you're doing things which drain you. All the practical, simple stuff. That's really what you learn. You learn to see how important it is in your harder phases. Because that's all you have. All you have is you. And in the harder phases, that's what you're given the opportunity to see. Now, when I say you, I mean you and God. God and I are majority. God and you are majority. You rely and you bring faith back to the things that you can actually see and feel and not control, but really be with. Because the essence of freedom isn't control. But how do I put it? Control is the thing which actually counteracts freedom. You can't have freedom when there is control. And if you're trying to control yourself, that's the hardest part of life. You have to learn how to be and how to erode and how to face yourself. And as you do the work, then there's less to control because you're actually eroding your darkness. See, that's the hard work, is the erosion of the darkness. That means you have to look at it as above, so below, as within, etc. Ultimately, you just make the game as simple as possible. And that's really like, hey, I've been put in this position. I'm going to do something with it. I'm not going to sit here and choose to live in a low place. I don't know what exactly I can do, but maybe I'm going to take pen and paper and list the things which charge me. And I'm going to list the things which drain me. And I'm going to get completely aware and clear on the habits, the actions that I do in relationship to other people, which maybe I wouldn't like done to myself. May and you just continuously expand your consciousness in relationship to what it is to be free and all the things which prevent you from being free. Really, wisdom can be ultimately reduced to the simple process of being honest about what makes you weak. So when you face the lies, you find the truth. You don't chase the truth. You face the lies first. Now, number 2, how to recognize if you're in a hermit phase versus avoiding life. Really practically, you're going to watch yourself, okay? And you can document this process too. I'd highly recommend having multiple notepads and pens throughout your house, throughout all the areas you spend the most time with. Same with books, fundamental books. But what you're going to do to see if you're in this solitude phase or if you're avoiding life is really genuinely write or ask yourself, how did I get into this phase? Was it a strong action? Was it a weak action? Because if it, that will help you to determine, like, what launched me into this phase? What propelled me into this phase? And then look at how you feel on a daily basis. Even if you feel horrible, be honest about that. Because the moment you start to recognize that you feel a certain way, I'm telling you, all you really have to do is start to pray, surrender, and change your lifestyle. Now, I say it simply, but it's one choice at a time, it's one decision at a time, and it's one moment at a time. I definitely think you need to brain dump, right? So that means just write everything down, put it on a piece of paper, and then organize that piece of paper. Use technology to help you organize things. I love to use AI to journal, but I also journal a lot just on paper. My point is, the only way you can be honest about where you're at in life, avoiding it or a hermit phase, is to get clear on the nature of yourself. And that takes a honesty, a willingness to say, hey, I'm going to write things down. Or I'm going to look at myself. And the thing is, like, you can contemplate consciously without writing, but it's so helpful to have practical things written down too. You don't want to just store everything in your head. That's not like all of this, which I'm saying to you here. It's to your heart and your spirit and your soul. This isn't about the mind. I'm not teaching you anything. And there's not, like, I may say don't forget things and do remember things, but it's not as if you need to store what I'm saying in your memory. It's not like that. So, yeah, I feel I covered the practical points there. Point number 3, the integration, knowing when to withdraw and when to re-engage. This is, it's as if you can feel when you're forcing or chasing something, when you really desire something. I love this quote, I want never gets. Because to want and desire is to say, hey, I don't have this. I don't have it. And when you are on that level saying that you don't have it, well, then you're not going to get it. So what you have to do is kind of change to see, all right, am I like withdrawing naturally? Does this feel right? Does this feel as if I'm honoring my heart? Or am I just avoiding a hard conversation? Or am I just blaming someone else? And sometimes it won't be super simple, especially in interpersonal relationships. You're going to have some hard days, definitely, but that's where we go back to the fundamentals, right? Take care of what you can take care of and you'll get through. And the only way is through. No matter what you're facing in life, the only way is through. You may pivot, you might do other things, but there are certain situations and moments in life where it is certain there's one way, and it's through. Now, on the topic of withdrawing and when to re-engage, it's like this skepticism around lies. You have to really question yourself. Like, where are you lying to yourself? Because that's how you start to feel, okay, yeah, I actually am ready to re-engage with people or put myself out there or take shots, shoot for opportunities, etc. It's not something I can say, hey, when X happens, then do this. I mean, maybe I could come up with some of those, but I'm not really feeling like forcing anything. Um, it's the integration is about stepping back and letting your heart show you, are you feeling right? Are you feeling as if you can share with others and connect with others in a meaningful way? If not, bring that attention inward and really let yourself understand, where are these roadblocks? Where are these emotional uh, things that are trapped? And then also, you do need to have courage. Like, you're never going to be perfect. There's never going to be this perfect, oh, now I'm ready. So then you do have to jump also. It's a big balancing act here. Ultimately, like, fundamentals will lead you to having the clarity to being guided. So that's always the simple thing that I come back to, is have that lifestyle and practical living dialed in so that your clarity in your relationship to energy is sensitive, and therefore you can change, stop on a dime, etc. We'll do a quick recap. The necessary withdrawal. Just like the seed needs darkness underground before it breaks through soil, you need periods of isolation to process, integrate, and prepare for your next evolution. The sacred solitude. This isn't depression or avoidance. It's intentional withdrawal to do deep work. You're not running from people. You're building the man or woman who can handle what's coming. The reemergence. The hermit phase always ends. You'll know when it's time to return because you'll feel the pull to share what you've learned, to build what you've envisioned, to lead from your new power. So ultimately, don't apologize for your isolation. You're not broken, you're transforming. Honor the hermit phase, do the inner work, let the world think you've disappeared. When you return, you'll return as someone they've never seen before. New episodes are out Monday, Thursday, 10 a.m. Genuinely, thank you. I am grateful for you. If there's anyone you know that may resonate with this, just share it with them. Sincerely appreciate you with all my heart. Much love. Have a great day.